Let me ask, is it a good idea to follow Jesus? Is it a good idea to follow Jesus? You know, the crowd, it's interesting because right now we are being bombarded with the scene of the crowd, violent demonstrations, mass hysteria, all of these things going on. The crowd is interesting. The crowd is interesting, but I suspect that if we actually conducted random interviews of people that are within the crowd, that it would quickly become apparent that many people in the crowd would find it very difficult to articulate just what in the world's actually going on within the crowd. But you know, when you take that wide camera angle and you view it, it seems like, well, they're all in on it. They all know what's going on, which must have been the case as well in John chapter 6 when Jesus has just fed the 5,000. There's these mass amounts of people following Jesus. People are excited, free food, filled bellies. But as you read through John chapter 6, it becomes very apparent that actually many people in that crowd really had no idea what's even going on. But the scary truth that confronts us here is that many may follow Jesus enthusiastically, only a few truly depend upon Jesus. And we see that strikingly in Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Jesus' famous words, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many enter therein. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." And so the mathematics of Christ's kingdom are difficult, and they're different from the mathematics of America's church, because America's church is all about how many, but Christ's church is all about how few. Not that Jesus only wanted a few, because Jesus spoke to many people. But of the many, only a few would understand. And of the few that understand, only a few would actually believe. And so seeing Jesus' ministry, it's like looking at the progress of it, you would say, goodness gracious, it was going so well. But it seems after this feeding of the 5,000, which really should have been like the launching pad for mass popularity, it seems to have really trailed off at that point. It seems to trail off, and you might even say, well, I kind of really feel bad for the guy. But really, what kind of Messiah was he anyway? I mean, he started with 12 and he ended with 11. No great success story. But the crowd, we find out, is dwindling off at that point because Jesus is making it very clear what it means to follow him. Listen, this message is so needed today because Jesus is constantly concerned that people would be following him for the wrong reasons. And that's what he's saying when he says to the crowd in John chapter 6, after they're looking for him, after he feeds them, the next day they want to eat again. And he says, listen, you guys are not following me because of the miracle that I just did. You're following me because I just fed you food. You're not looking for me for good reason. You just like free food. And he was trying to raise them up out of the material into the spiritual. Please see this picture. The people that are in greatest danger are not the radical outsiders. The people that are in greatest danger are the people that are wandering in the crowd, who are within the orb and the influence of the church, growing up in Christian families. They know the songs, they know the pattern, they know the routine. They are the ones that are in the greatest danger, right? Remember Zacchaeus in that tree. He was not within the crowd. He was an outsider, yet Jesus radically changed his life. Or the woman at the well, she was not part of the crowd, yet Jesus radically changed her life. Listen, Jesus is deeply concerned for the thousands that are wandering in his wake because many of them got no clue what's even going on. And so again, is it a good idea to follow Jesus? Is it? The answer is no. It's not a good idea to follow Jesus. It may have been a good idea to stop and watch this devotional, but it's not a good idea to follow Jesus. Listen, it's an absolute necessity to follow Jesus. And if you haven't come to Jesus as an absolute necessity, listen, you ain't never come to Jesus. Let's not say, I am fine, I am cool, I'm part of the crowd, but let us rest when we know we have put our full faith in our Lord Jesus Christ and believed him for our future eternity. That's where we find rest.